Kundalini is the word, Kundalini. It's sometimes been said that it's the mother of all yogas. And you'll notice as you're practicing it that it does feel very holistic because we use posture, stretching, some of the asanas that if you've done Hatha yoga will be familiar. We also work a lot with the breath, and breath not as separate pranayama exercises, but in conjunction with the exercises. We also work a lot with sound and mantra and meditation and relaxation. So it really works on all the different parts of yourself. So it's not just an exercise class, it's not just a meditation class, but it's kind of everything all together. And Kundalini Yoga was one of those things that the upper caste system guarded very jealously. So you could only learn Kundalini Yoga if you were of the Brahmin caste, and you were chosen to have a teacher and be initiated into that path. Nobody else could learn it. What was developed for kind of everybody else was Hatha Yoga, which, like Kundalini Yoga, works on moving the energy from the base of the spine, where our creative potential is held, and gets it circulating through the chakras, so we have access to it. The only difference is that it takes a lot longer. It's said that practicing Kundalini Yoga for 90 days is equal to practicing Hatha Yoga for 20 years. So it's, you know, for those people that just like to work fast, it's great. It is, and it is very effective. And, you know, all the forms of yoga are very wonderful. And, you know, it's just kind of finding what you resonate with. But that's just a little bit of history in Kundalini Yoga. So you may be wondering, after I said all that about it being secret, and you had to be somebody really special to practice Kundalini, how is it we're practicing it here? Well, my teacher, Yogi Budgen, was one of those privileged people. He grew up in India. He belonged to a very wealthy family. And they just kind of saw his potential at a young age and sent him to study with a teacher. And then when he was 16, his teacher said to him, "You're the master now." And so he, you know, he proceeded to very much develop himself as a yogi, and also had a pretty normal life. He got married, had children, he worked for the Indian government. And then he was approached by the Russian government in the 60s because he was, during that whole time, he was known for his yogic powers that he had. And the Russian government was interested in having him work on some parapsychology programs, and he didn't feel like it was going to be used for benevolent purposes. So he said, I don't think this is a good idea. And he had a friend who worked in the Canadian government. He said, you know, why don't you come over here? He'd also had a vision that he was going to be teaching Kundalini Yoga to Westerners. Although he thought maybe it would be some Westerners who were, you know, staying in the airport or something. He didn't know he'd be coming here. So he ended up in the West, actually ended up in UCLA teaching. And this was 1969. And some of you may be old enough to remember 1969, I do. And so he was looking around at the young people around in 1969, and he's like, "Ay, ay, ay." He said, you know, these kids are really searching for something, and they're, you know, they're intelligent and they have a lot going on, and they're stoned out of their minds, and they haven't had a bath in a week. He said, I think they really need to know Kundalini Yoga. And he started teaching it publicly for the first time ever. He got a lot of flack for that, actually. But he he passed away in 2004, but he really felt that in the times that we live in, it's just no longer appropriate to have like secret societies and secret initiations, that the tools to be healthy and happy should be available for whoever wants to learn them.